Did you know that more and more are stressed, anxious, and depressed? And studies have shown that these stresses can lead directly to poor health. It can become a vicious cycle, a cycle that's not easy to treat. But now, there's a cure. Ask your doctor about Fixitol, the pill you take once that instantly takes care of all these concerns. Fixitol. Fixitol is not available in North America, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, Europe, Antarctica, or the North Pole.
While it is true that mental and emotional health can affect your physical health, there's no quick fix for many of the concerns brought on by life stresses. But you can talk to your physician about a treatment that's proven to be effective for depression and stress. When you ask your physician to recommend a licensed psychologist, you're taking a first step toward a healthier mind and body. Through treatment, psychologists arm patients with new understandings and lifelong problem-solving skills. For example, helping you make healthy choices, especially when you're feeling depressed, anxious, or stressed. And though some conditions do require medication, for moderate depression, psychotherapy is just as effective as medication, without the risk of side effects and lower instances of relapse. It is time to talk to your physician, but not about the latest miracle cure. It's time to ask for a recommendation for a licensed psychologist.
Pleasant good morning to all of you, and welcome this morning to American University of Research press briefing on the mission to Essequibo. I must say first and foremost that one of the things that moved us to go to Essequibo was the information we received from the newspaper. In fact, one of the newspapers stated that 82 persons committed suicide on the Essequibo coast in 2013. But we have found otherwise, and that's not the facts. It is only 17 persons committed suicide on the Essequibo coast. So it was important for us to go to the source and to get accurate information on this issue. American University of Research is a research and consultant institute whose mandate is to conduct research to find solutions to social problems. We set out on February 7th for Essequibo, 13 of us. I will name a few of the persons who contribute and support this initiative. Leela Ramson, who is the chairperson for Teacher Service Commission. Dr. Simon, President of American University of Research. Dr. Yaswanti Biku, Research Analyst and Director of American University of Research. And Ms. Janelle Williams, Project Coordinator of this initiative. There are others whose name I will not mention because of the length of time and the amount of names, but I would like the media to make note of those names and put it in their record. And you'll get a copy of that from this briefing. We arrived on Essequibo Coast prepared. We had a strategic plan to execute, and I must say we were successful, very successful. We have gotten more than we thought we would have gotten, so it was a great success. We have traveled from Supernam to Charity throughout the coast, and we have connected with students, teachers, appearance, persons in public places like the markets along the Essequibo coast. We have also met with the native Amerindian, the Wayaka tribe, which is located in Lake Mainstay. So we have covered a very extensive array of persons along the coast. We have also met persons who have attempted suicide and families of loved ones who have committed suicide. In fact, we were able to connect with the latest suicide victim family on the Essequibo coast. And that was very, very interesting to know that we were able to make such a strategic connection to the latest suicide victim on that coast. Our findings are this. We find that most people who attempted suicide would do so from a domestic or relationship issue. Now, some of the things that we have done during our mission, we have done workshops, we have done coaching, we have also engaged in a survey, a very strategic survey, which we are still analyzing the results. Now, this survey was conducted on over 2,000 persons on the Essequibo coast. A vast number of individuals and lots of information for us to analyze and to have this information presented to the media. We have also discovered that there's a trend, and this trend seems to be more persons are attempting suicide each year. Now, what's a trend? A trend is also the norm. Now, when we look at the trend, let me give you an example when I say the trend, because this is very, very critical. Let's say you are walking down the street and there's a pile of trash, and you have some trash in your hand. You will automatically throw that trash where you notice that pile of trash. And this is very serious because it's alarming when someone is unable to face with social challenges, whether it's a youth or an adult, they revert to that trend of suicide. This is very, very alarming, and it can get worse. So we have a plan in place to reverse this trend. The other factor that we notice is technology. Technology plays a very critical role in how our young minds are shaped. So you have individuals who are embracing this technological change, and you have parents who are not equipped to deal with this technological transformation. So what do you have? You have an imbalance between parents and children. Now look at a couple of cases that we have come into contact with. Here's a young lady, 15 years old. Parents took away her cell phone. She reverted to suicide by hanging. She didn't die. She survived because they caught it just in time. Here is the latest case of suicide on the Essequibo coast. A young man, 17, went out drinking, came back home. His parents scolded him, and he too turned to suicide. So what we're seeing here is a technological imbalance where young people are becoming so ingrained in this new technology, and the old folks not knowing how to deal with these young individuals. So there's a serious imbalance there. We have a plan for that too. Also, I must say that there are a number of recommendations that we receive from the people of that region. We have our own recommendation. We have our own solution. Now, the statistics that we receive, the statistic that we receive from that region, I will ask Dr. Biku to pass that statistics on to you. And that is the statistics on 5 years of suicide deaths on the Essequibo coast. Now, with all of this being said, I have come to the conclusion that some of the major factors of suicide are genetic, biological, psychological, cultural, and environmental. These factors play a very important role in how we as human beings behave. But the root cause to all of this would be mental process. Because if we are suffering from some genetic ingrained behavior pattern, and we can process what is happening now in our lives, then we can override that genetic sperm. We can override the biological sperm through processing. We can override the psychological sperm through processing. We can also override the cultural sperm through processing, and also the environmental sperm through processing. So, this brings me back to what I have been championing, not just here in Guyana, but internationally, that we need to look at the root cause of situation. Now, when we talk about the root cause, we are talking about the root cause of human behavior. And the root cause of human behavior lies in the mental processing, how we process information. So, the key to maladaptive behavior, the key to abnormal behavior lies in mental processing. I would like to take a few questions. If there are some things that you would like to ask me so I can fill in the blanks on what we have achieved on this mission to Essequibo.
Dr. Simon, in terms of going to Essequibo and you have found a solution to all of the suicidal cause, I mean, what are your future plans in terms of putting things into place to help the society deal with such problems that is evolving?
We have a strategic plan that is already being implemented. This plan will include technology. It will also include training, and it will include creating a youth movement who will have the knowledge of self-awareness to pass on to other youths. Now, the plan that we have in place to reverse this trend, which is becoming very trendy, suicide, because someone else has done it, so I'm in a social dilemma, so why not do it? We plan to use technology because we believe that technology plays a very critical role in everything that we do today. And by using technology, we can get the message out to the young folks who are so much in need of knowledge, the knowledge of self-awareness, self-development, so that they can be able to process situations that they're coming into contact with. Now, this strategic plan, we hope to have this plan fully up and running in 1 week. This will be only for the Essequibo Coast. We also have planned to do other research study here in Georgetown and in Berbice. We are hoping that we can be on the Berbice leg of this mission early March. So we do have a strategic plan, and we strongly believe that that plan has something to reverse the trend of suicide in our society, because it deals with the root cause of human behavior and how human beings process information. Now, we also want to recommend some level of psychology, because psychology is the only subject that I know that gives us a scientific understanding of human behavior and mental process. And since it is the highest level of human intelligence, I strongly believe that we should embrace it in this society and let it be available to all human beings who so desire to learn something about their behavior and their mental process. Yes, there will be. Technology will just be the vehicle to tie in all the necessary ingredients that we considered our strategic plan. It is the vehicle because it can do miracles. We see it, and we know that almost every individual has access to technology, whether it's the cell phone, the internet, and it's like, let me put it this way. You have a snake, and you're bitten by that snake. What do? You go to the hospital. And what do? They give you anti-venom. They're using the same venom that the snake produce the poison in your body to counteract the venom of the snake. And this is a concept we're looking at with technology. We're seeing technology being so transcending and transforming, but at the same time, there are certain things that technology is not playing a very integral role or part in. So we're going to take that same technology and turn it around so that the technology can be used now to take our message and our strategic plan so that individual can have instant access to a therapist, a counselor, a coach, a psychologist, a psychotherapist. It will be instant. So you can go on your cell phone and you're in a crisis, boom, and you press the button and there is the information waiting for you and someone there to talk to you and to get back to you and to give you the necessary information that you need to keep you in balance so that that motion that you're going through can just take its course and you merge back into your normal state of being. So we're going to be using technology. And this is what we're saying, this transcendent technological advance that we're seeing here in our world today, we strongly believe that if we don't understand it or we don't use it to our benefit, it can cause us some serious repercussion as to how the old folks deal with this new transcendent element of technology that we discovered is causing a serious imbalance when we look at the culture here in Guyana. We have documented a large number of data, information on persons who have attempted suicide. And it's amazing to see how many of them have attempted suicide because of some technological imbalance in their thinking. They're seeing things this way, which is embracing technology, and you have their parents are seeing things this way. So when the parents are trying to straighten them out, what do you have? An imbalance. And they are saying, well, okay, there's a trend, and that trend is suicide. So they take that path. We have a strategic plan in place to reverse that trend too. And all this will be laid out in about a week, and this strategic plan will commence on the Essequibo coast in as little as 1 week. So you can expect to see some changes on the Essequibo coast. And we will be monitoring, collecting data consistently. We're not going to do this as a one-time thing. This is ongoing. This is going to be a project for us for years to come. Maybe 5, 10 years to come. We will be consistent in all the approaches that we are taking so that there can be an impact, a tremendous impact, and a shift in consciousness where individuals will no longer be reverting so much to irrational, instinctive, and aggressive behavior, but to making a shift to look at the root cause of issues, the root cause of challenges, instead of focusing on the symptoms. Now, when we look at the world, we see two things. We see symptoms, and we also see source. Only these two things. When we look at symptoms, we look at behaviors that are very irrational, instinctive, and aggressive. And that's what it is, symptomatic. We need to make a shift in consciousness so that we are able to look deep, look at the underlying issue. Because what you see on the surface is not what is. There's something deeper, and we need to look deep. We need to take a step back and process. And the thing that gives us a scientific understanding of these two aspects of human behavior is psychology. Why? Because it defines itself as a scientific study of human behavior and mental process. So why not look into it? Now, 98% of all sicknesses are psychologically induced. All mental disorder are psychologically induced. So we're saying that the source of all disorder originates in the mind. So therefore, we don't have effective studies that explain to us what the mind is or how we can control the mind. But we have something that is very close, and that is mental process, which is a scientific understanding that we can have if we will only look to psychology and see that it is the highest science of human behavior and mental process. So why not look into psychology to understand the science of mental process? So therefore, we're saying that psychological processing is very critical instead of behavioral processing, where we operate instinctively, aggressive, and irrational, and also to deal with issues from an eye for an eye concept. That is old stuff. We need a new shift. The eye for an eye concept is very short term, but it doesn't last forever. We need to look at the big picture. We need to be able to see the big picture. And from that, we will have a strategic understanding of what this whole journey of man is all about. We will also be able to leave history. But when we look at petty things, things that are insignificant, we are dealing with symptoms. And we need to take a shift in consciousness. So if human beings, or if any one of us are behaving irrational, instinctive, and aggressive, you are operating on the same level of animals. Because animals do not think. They do not process. They react. They behave instinctively and aggressively. So therefore, we as a culture turn into suicide, domestic violence. We are no different from animals. But we are not animals. We consider ourselves to be human beings. So we need to take a shift in consciousness so that we can come to realize that there is something greater about us. And when we come to that realization, we developed the most unique ability to deal with challenges in our society and in our world. Now, our journey that we are engaged in, which is looking at the root cause of social problems, is a global initiative. We are not just working in Guyana. We will be working in other countries around the world to make it known that what we have come to realize is a global epidemic in human behavior, and that is the basic of all of human development.
Yes, Dr. Simon, I understand all of that. That's very wonderful. But there is one small question I would like to ask. In terms of educating people technologically, aren't there going to be some sort of workshop to educate the society first, letting them know what is this all about and how to react towards these problems that will finally come into their lives? Aren't you going to have an ongoing workshop letting everybody know, you know, I mean, we're there, and this is how you deal with it.
Correct. That will have to be part of the strategic plan, because we cannot give individuals tools that they don't know how to use it.
That's correct.
We will teach them how to use these tools. And these tools are not hard to use. It's just like, you know, I have a cell phone and someone taught me how to text. I didn't know how to text, but I learned how to text. So the word will get around. But just to add to that, we are going to establish a center, okay, on the Essequibo Coast to train people in life skills. So that center is in the works right now.
In terms of response.
Yes, we will have our center there on the Essequibo Coast, and that center will also be the center to gather information and to also be able to respond to situations of suicide on the coast. So wherever there is a suicide attempt or a suicide taking place, you know, we want to go into that region. We will have people on the ground who will be able to move around and to connect with areas that are experiencing suicidal behavior.
You're talking about much vulnerable areas.
Yes, much vulnerable areas, because not all areas, as based on our statistics, are prone to suicide. There are certain specific areas that are having more suicidal behavior than others. But I really want to say that one of the scariest things about all of this is the trend. It is the trend. And what seems to be becoming the norm. Because once it becomes the trend and the norm, my friends, I think you have something to reckon with. Because look around at Georgetown. Look at the garbage that we come to see. So prevalent in, you know, on the street corners. And it becomes the norm. We have been living with it for so long that it doesn't matter anymore. That's what we are facing with this suicide behavior. Because the number of persons that have attempted suicide is increasing every year. And I must give thanks to the medical institutions that are taken or have to deal with these individuals who attempted suicide, because the number of persons who attempted suicide, it is so great, and the number of persons that die has remained, you know, to a very low level. So they must be doing something good to prevent persons from dying, and I think it's an area that I want to congratulate whatever they're doing to be something very effective, because you have 117 persons attempting suicide in one region, and the number of deaths 16 to 17. So that's very significant. So there must be catching these attempted suicide, you know, at the right time. And also too, we need to realize that many persons who are attempting suicide may not really want to die. And they're just, you know, trying to get some attention, so I'm going to take a few pills and see what happens, and see if I get the attention I'm getting. That may be a reason also. But let's give some credit to the medical institutions, that, especially the ones on the Essequibo Coast, that are playing a very important role in treating suicide attempt victims.
So according to your survey, Mrs. Beekles, can I ask you a question? According to your survey, in terms of male and female factor, which is the highest level of committed and attempted suicide in terms of male and female factor?
Actually, we found out that the males, right? We have both males and females, both attempted. I can tell you, I can give you the statistics, if that would help. So,
Sure, we would like to hear.
sure. So I'm going to start from like 2009, right? So we have here from, this is actually the report Ms. Springer provided to us, right? And she said in 2009 they found out reported attempted, not suicide, reported attempted in 2009, 65 reported.
On terms of male or female?
General. I'm
Okay.
just going to give you the general today.
Okay.
Okay? Treated, 44. Death by hanging, 6. Death by poison, 15. A total death in 2009, 21. Right? 2010, reported attempted suicide, 90. Treated, 72. Okay? Death by hanging, 4. 14 by poison. Okay? 18 survive. Right? In 2011, reported cases, reported attempted, 80. Treated, 63. 3 dead by hanging, 4. 14 by poison, and death is 17. 2012. Right? Reported cases, reported attempted cases, 150. Right? Treated, 130. Dead by hanging, 6. Dead by poison, 14. And dead, 20. Reported attempted suicide cases in 2013, we got 113 cases. Right? 97 were treated, 6 died by hanging, 10 poison, 16 in total survive. Now, today I'm just going to give you that, right? We're going to release the amount of male and female in our next, interview.
What I was asking is that we're looking at the vulnerability of the sex.
Yes.
Okay, which is stronger than the other. Which
Yes,
one
the
is-
male. The male actually committed when they attempt, they actually go through with it, and the female, they can, think about
As
it.
we said,
and-
undecisive.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And according to your statistics, this report is saying that the numbers fluctuate, but instead
Yes.
of going down,
Mhm.
it as you see in 2013, it rise, but it's because of the input of the medical field
Mhm.
that amount have been saved. Okay?
Yes.
As Dr. Simon rightfully said, thanks to the medical team that they're doing a wonderful job by
Indeed.
saving lives. But then those are officially reported.
Mhm.
What about unofficial?
Well, I don't have the unofficial, I'm sorry.
Because, unofficials are the ones that did not reach the media or did not reach the hospital on time to be reported. You understand me? Because I do believe what you say there. Because, yes, there is an increase of all of these that is going on due to a lack of education into the society.
To close, I would like to say that there are two things that really concern me. One is the trend, and the other is technological changes that are taking place, that are creating an imbalance between the parents and children. And those are the two of my major concern, because I think and I have a very strong feelings that the trend will continue. Okay? Unless something is done, it's going to get worse. And I want to be able to reverse that trend, and also to bring some kind of balance between parents and children as to how they get along with each other. Now, I also want to say that this task is a big task because suicide has been around for a very long time. And Guyana, I think, I'm not sure, I don't have the statistics, but I've been told that Guyana is the third country with the highest suicide on this planet. So it is very scary for such a small nation with only maybe 700 or 800 or 1 million people. That is very small, okay, for that amount of persons to be taking their lives.
Yeah, because we're already 26.4. And that's a very high percentage for a small nation.
Very good, thank you. So we need to do something. And we take on this challenge all alone. Whatever we do, it is solely supported by the American University of Research. If others would like to join us on this quest to reduce suicide death